Okay, this is a 5-minute video on how to fix an old rotten mast. So basically my name's Mike, and I have a 46-foot, well 38-foot Mason actually, wooden boat, and I didn't want to put an aluminum mast on it. And so we're going to rebuild the old mast, and I'm just going to show you what wood rot does. That's wood rot. In fact, that was the bottom of the mast. Pulled it out. When you pulled it out, it just fell apart. So it's an old boat, 1972. This is a 45-year-old mast, and you can see how it's been built. That's kind of a cross section, chainsawed it up so that I could actually figure out how the inside is made. It's made out of Sitka spruce, boats actually, mahogany on Yacal ribs and all that. So it's a beautiful old boat, and I wanted to build exactly the same mast. So what I did is I took the whole thing apart, took all the shrouds off. Take pictures when you do your old mast if you can salvage your old mast so you know where the spreaders are. Then I made a design for the mast and wrote down all the measurements really carefully, figured out where all the wirings and how the whole thing was put together. And now I'm going to show you how it was actually, there's the old mast there. You can see where the pulleys were for the halyards. That's the top of the mast head for all the stuff, and then there's little lights and everything came out, and the wiring. So what I did is I bought myself some really beautiful edge grain Sitka spruce. Let's just take a look at what edge grain Sitka spruce looks like. There you go. There's edge grain. Actually, I'll show you a better piece. But anyway, I just want to show you how it's basically built, so you could try to build one and not get too psyched out. They're hollow on the inside, so you lay down. You build 2x8s. I planed these down to 1 1/8. So you can see that's going to replace the top piece. Mayhem here in the shop. And just basically you laminate it up. So these are the inside pieces, right? Those are 1.5 by 1.5, just angles. And there's 4 angles that are built inside the box. And then there's a 3-inch piece. Well, it's 2 5/8 actually. Forget the measurements. You're gonna have to do your own measurements, right? But basically you can see here's the bottom piece, right? That's going to be the outside of the mast, inside of the mast, and then there'll be another top plate on there, which was that piece that I showed you over there. That plate sits on top of there, and then that just gets routed down to fit the mast fitting on. And then you run this tubing. This is really critical. Run tubing down, and don't assume that your wiring's going to fit through one piece of tube. It won't. So run independent tubes for all your wiring. That's probably the most complicated part of building this thing. This is where the pulleys are going in, and then it'll all fit on top of there. And the last piece is getting slapped on the top, and then I got to shape it. So I just wanted to show you the inside so you could build one yourself. And here's the solid middle. So that's where the spreaders are, and then there's a hole going through for the well, there's a hole going through for the wiring, right? Under the spreaders are going to be right here, and this is the wiring that feeds up to the spreader lights. And then there's 2 more tubes down there to run for the engine light. And then so you got 4 tubes running down here to the spreaders, 2 to the spreaders, and then 2 to the top. 4 altogether. The 4 run down here, and then the very bottom of the mast is solid all the way. So this is last little bit is just routed out. I just actually cut that with a table saw and just cut out enough so that that'll fit in there, right? And this one those 2 fit in there like that. And then they pop out of the side of the mast underneath. This mast goes right through the deck, and then fits into a mast base at the bottom. And so the bottom 10 feet or so, well actually about 6 feet are solid, and then it's solid right up to about here, and this is where all the winches are and so on, which you'll see in the video after this. But I wanted you to be able to see more or less how to build one. Not that complicated. The most intelligent thing to do is build yourself an absolutely straight strong box underneath. I built mine out of 2x10s and some plywood. Got it all lined up with a piece of string so it's absolutely dead straight, and then you build your mast on top of that. And then the only thing, the big thing that you'll read about on boat forums and stuff is what kind of glue do you use. You know, theoretically you should use Resorcinol. That's what everybody says, but then you got to be a fine woodworker. I'm not that much of a fine woodworker, so epoxy is way more forgiving, way easier to find, and it's been working great. Like I just use West System epoxy. And the key thing with this stuff is it's not like fiberglass. So you don't just add catalyst and it goes off. You actually have to really mix it well. And buy yourself some West System. This 3-liter thing has done me the whole mast if you're thinking about quantities. And I'll show you what the mast has done in the next video. Over and out.